Hi, this is Dean from the Worldwide Trekking YouTube channel, and today I'm going to talk about how difficult is the trek to Mount Everest Base Camp. So for us at Worldwide Trekking, the trek to Mount Everest Base Camp is rated strenuous. We have easy, active, moderate, strenuous, and then extreme challenge on our rating system. And the trek to Mount Everest Base Camp is rated strenuous, and the reason is on a strenuous trip, we are usually at higher altitude for multiple number of days. So, for example, on the trek to Mount Everest Base Camp, after day 2 on the trek portion, you are above 11,500 feet. We're there day 2 in Namche Bazaar, up above 11,500 feet. So you do have to acclimatize on the Everest Base Camp trek. So it's one thing when people think about going to higher altitude, maybe for a ski vacation in Colorado, and their top of the mountain is over 11,000 feet. The difference there is typically they're at a lower village, they go up high, they come back down, they go up high, they come back down, and at the end of the day, they stay in the village at a lower altitude. Where when you trek to a village and you're above 11,000, 12,000 feet and sleep there, the body has to acclimatize because it'll cope in short periods of time and then you come back down, like at the ski resort. Where on a trek, you have to acclimatize to adjust to the higher altitude, especially when you're there for an extended period of time. So on the trek to Mount Everest Base Camp, we fly in the first day from Kathmandu, round number, we'll say 4,500 feet. We land in, for us, we land in Phuoc Dinh, which is about 9,000 feet. And then we trek along to Manzhou the first night at about 9,000 feet. On the second day, we make our way across the Dukosi River. We ascend the Namche Hill, and then we're in Namche Bazaar, and we're there at 11,500 feet. We're there overnight, so we're not going to drop down after that. We're there at 11,500, and we're going to stay at that altitude for multiple days, working our way up higher and higher as we go up the valley. So when you do spend the night, after a while, your body will stop coping to the higher altitude and you have to acclimatize. That's why it's important to pace yourself out, go slow, hydrate, take snacks, take breaks, let your body adjust, and you'll slowly go into altitude. So for us, that's part of the reason that it's rated strenuous. We do take time on our trips to make sure that people are acclimatizing safely. So your guide does a baseline medical check in Kathmandu and then does a medical check every day of your trip throughout the entire trek, and that way they can see that your body is acclimatizing well and that you're safe. And then if you have any concerns, maybe you're not feeling well or eating well or something's a little headache, all the normal signs of AMS, acute mountain sickness, they can help you and coach you and make sure that you're safe and successful and feeling good. But that's a big part of the reason why the base camp trek is rated strenuous, as well as on a strenuous trek, you can't really divert from the program that we have set up for you and still accomplish your goal. For example, on a moderate trip for us, say in the European Alps or in Iceland or down in southern Utah, on a moderate trip, you could decide like, hey, I'm not going to do the hike today. You guys go. I'll see you this afternoon when you return. You don't have that option on a strenuous trip like Kilimanjaro or Everest Base Camp. You have to stay to the program. That being said, we do take 2 nights in Namche Bazaar at 11.5 so you can properly acclimatize, knowing that most and all people should do that in order to give their body the chance to catch up and to feel good and acclimatize at the new altitude. And then as we work our way up the valley to Ferashe, Nepal at 14,000 feet, we take 2 days again, 2 nights there. We'll have the first night. The second day, we'll take a acclimatization hike. We'll get out on our feet. We'll kind of have the day at that altitude, and then we'll sleep there again before we continue from Ferashe at 14,000 feet up to Lobuche at 16,000 feet. So we have it built into our program that you're going to take these acclimatization days and make yourself safe and comfortable and feeling good. Everybody always feels a little bit of the simple signs of acute mountain sickness. AMS is something that when you're acclimatizing, you're going to feel it. People might have a slight headache when they arrive at a village, and then within time they'll start to feel better. They might lose their appetite a little bit. They might feel a little bit nauseous. They might have all of those things that we have to go through in the acclimatization process, and these are other reasons why the Everest Base Camp is a strenuous trek rating for us. A couple other things that are important to note is that the Everest Base Camp trek is long. On the 10th day, you're finally making it into Everest Base Camp, so you need to be able to pace it out and go day after day, even with the rest days. Life up there in the upper valley, in the tea houses, different types of food, different types of sleeping accommodations, things like that are all going to add to the strenuous nature of the trip. And then, of course, when we get well up the valley, Lobuche, 16,000 feet, up into Gorak Shep, the highest village, over 17,000 feet. Now we're up in those, areas where it's just a little bit harder day and night for people over 15, 16, 17,000 feet are going to be hard on them, and everybody handles it differently. For us, on our trip, we give people the option to go up to Kalapatar, which is at 18,500 feet. It's going to be a strenuous portion of the trek. Great views of Mount Everest. And for those who opt to, they can go up to some of the scenic high spots, see great views of Mount Everest without going all the way to the top of Kalapatar. And then we spend the night in Gorak Shep village. And the following morning, we're going to make our way from Gorak Shep into Everest Base Camp, get our photos at Everest Base Camp, take in the sights and all the surrounding mountains of Everest Base Camp. After a time at Everest Base Camp, we're going to work our way back down to Gorak Shep, where we'll have lunch. That afternoon, we'll work our way back from Gorak Shep down to Lobuche village and spend a night at 16,000 feet. As we start to descend, typically people are starting to feel a little bit of the stress relief because they've accomplished their goal, they've made it into base camp, and they are starting to descend in altitude. And these are all things that are going to add to the strenuous nature of the trip. Strenuous is something that is very achievable for most of our guests. Our guests all do well. Doesn't mean they don't earn it. Doesn't mean they don't work for it. On any of those trips that are rated strenuous, like Everest Base Camp, the better that you plan for your trip, 6 months, 4 months, 3 months prior to departure, you're starting to amp up in your training at home. You're going away feeling physically fit, feeling like you've worked for what you're about ready to do. You're going to the gym a little extra. You're taking longer hikes or walks. You're walking with some weight on your back. You're walking in your clothes that you're going to wear on the trail during your trek. All these things can aid in your success and your comfort, and of course your safety when you go to Mount Everest Base Camp. It is strenuous. It is something that is very achievable. We definitely have guides that are professionally trained to help people adjust monitor their well-being during the trip with their medical checks, and help recognize all of the things that can give them a better edge and chance of making their goal. But that being said, on a strenuous trip, most all our guests at the end of the trip feel like they well earned what they've accomplished: their trek to Mount Everest Base Camp, their climb up Acclimatization, and all of the days between the start of the trail and the end that are going to help keep them feeling good and make sure that they can safely accomplish their goal. So it is a strenuous trek in Nepal. It is difficult. There are some other things that can come up that make it strenuous and difficult. You know, people can get a cough, people can eat something that doesn't agree with them, they can get sick on the trail. You know, the tea houses that we stay at, they're comfortable. The rooms are colder as you get higher, and the common room is heated. We're not eating the normal things that we eat at home. We're not in our home, bed and things like that. Some of those comforts are things that also aid on people having to stay strong, stay focused, think about what they're doing, and really want it when it gets tough. And I think that the better shape that people show up, the better that they're going to fare on the trail when maybe the weather isn't ideal for what they want. There's some precipitation, or it's colder in the morning, that kind of thing. The better shape you're in when it gets tough, or the hills get big, or the altitude and the air gets thin, you're going to fare better in the better condition that you show up in over there in Nepal. But the trek to Mount Everest Base Camp is rated strenuous. There's not a lot of flexibility in the program. However, if anybody does feel sick, doesn't do well, kind of hits the wall and has a problem, we can descend, we can call in a helicopter. We have medical equipment, professionally medically certified guides on the trail with them that can help them mostly keep them safe, comfortable, and get them down to where they might want to be if they don't want to finish their journey. We have an extremely high success rate at Worldwide Trekking, and we pride ourselves in getting everybody safely up into the Upper Khumbu, where they have those great big views of Mount Everest, the trek into base camp, and then after a couple days we descend back down. Our groups conclude the journey in the valley at Ferishe when we return down from base camp, one night in Lobuche, come down to Ferishe, and at 14,000 feet the helicopters swoop in the morning and pick us up and fly us all the way back to Kathmandu. So we do finish our trip, aside from hiking all the way back out to the Lukla landing strip at the end, we get picked up in the helicopter. It saves a couple days of hiking out in the end, and oftentimes we found that people have completed their journey into Everest Base Camp, have worked their way down into the areas of the upper valley where they can safely get picked up in a helicopter and fly back to Kathmandu to conclude their journey. But although it's a strenuous trip, although it's something that people have to work hard for and stay focused on during the journey, there are complications that can come up that people have to push through and really dig deep sometimes. And in the end, I like to think that it's incredibly rewarding. It's something that people will remember for a really, really long time, something that they'll be incredibly proud of in the end, and worth the trip to Nepal to trek into Mount Everest Base Camp. If you have any questions about the difficulty of trekking into Mount Everest Base Camp, maybe if it's right for you, maybe there's certain things that you're concerned about, personal things or things that your body or your fitness level gives concern, don't hesitate to reach out directly and contact us. We're always happy to answer any of your questions, talk about you specifically, and see if the trek to Everest Base Camp is the right fit for you and something that you'd enjoy doing. Thanks again for watching, and feel free to reach out. We're always happy to help and get you on a trip to Mount Everest Base Camp in Nepal, one of the incredible journeys on our planet. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.